Rory Gallagher was not in Oasis. He was an Irish blues guitarist, singer, and songwriter, and was cited as an influence by some very well known guitarists, including Brian May and Eric Clapton, but was never himself particularly hugely successful. In 1966, he formed the trio Taste, who released two albums before breaking up in 1970, and he then had a solo career, releasing 14 albums before he died in 1995 at the age of 47. Hi, my name's Dan, and this is a live album of blues rock, and it's my first time listening to it. I think it's my first encounter with Rory Gallagher. So, what I normally do is I listen to an album twice, and I have a read up between the two. So my attempt with this is to, regardless of how much I know about an album or a band, is to have the most blind listen that I can get, as it were, followed by getting myself some knowledge, and then having an informed listen. And on this occasion, I didn't know much about Rory Gallagher, if anything, and I assumed as I listened to it that he was American. So he sounded American. He's not. He's Irish. Um, but I will come to why I felt that, or why I think I felt that. Excuse me. So most of the tracks here are his originals. There are some covers, including the first track on the album, which is "Messing with a Kid." Now I know that track from somewhere, but I can't put my finger on whose version I know it. I wonder if it was on one of the Blues Brothers albums, but it's something like that. Kind of a. I feel like it was a bigger R&B band or something, but I might be wrong. Anyway, let's move on. Pistol Slapper Blues has him moving from his electric guitar to an acoustic guitar, and is quite nice. My Hometown has him moving on to a mandolin, and is pretty decent on a mandolin also. Otherwise, it's a trio of electric guitar, bass, and drums, and very much this is a vehicle for his guitar playing. So he's technically good, and in fact, I would say at times impressive. One of the things that actually impressed me was that he is better than most at playing and singing at the same time. Um, and it's not an easy thing to do, especially if you're. I mean, if you're playing chords, it's easier. But if you're playing riffs and lines like that, to be able to sing one line and play a different riff at the same time is definitely a skill. Okay, so I know that Rory has been quoted as being highly influential amongst some guitarists. I know that this is kind of blues rock in a classic sense. 1972, so we're out of the 70s when you have the Yardbirds and stuff like that, but we're moving into yeah, a kind of slightly different world with blues rock, I think. But I would say that this, for me, it was technical, and it had a raw edge to it, with it being a, that kind of era live. There's just three of them, so it's got a kind of energy to it. But if I felt like it lacked some of the feel that you get from, for me anyway, that you get from some of the best blues. And I'm going to reference here two of my favourite blues guitarists, Gary Moore and B.B. King. And Gary Moore was also an Irishman. So the reason I think that I thought he was American is because the singing is very similar to Jimi Hendrix's singing, in the kind of sense that it's kind of singing, it's kind of it's got this kind of slides and little bits of half speech, half singing, and just vaguely, somewhat mumbled, and yeah, but I always find it difficult to describe voices. That I think was why something in my head had gone, this must be an American guy. Um, but it's not. I don't think that's affected my feeling about the album at all. It has a feel of authenticity, um, but as I said, it didn't have that kind of guts feel. There's something about it that isn't the feel that really excites me. So it failed to engage me hugely. That doesn't. I don't want to say it's bad album. It's just not as good as some of the best. Uh, blues, and especially for a live album, I might expect it to have a little bit more of that kind of to it, which I can't describe any better than that. I'm sorry. So it's not bad, but I think maybe the problem is that my standards are really high for blues because I have listened to a lot of really, really good blues rock. Anyway, I thought it was okay, but I wasn't completely taken with it. And that's what I think. So, as always, I'd love to ask you to tell me what you think of this album. What do you think? I'd love to know. Please do tell me. Leave me a comment in the comments box. That would be great. And that's it for me for now.
Well, I made a mistake. I moved much too far. And now I know what the lonesome blues are. I'm getting lonesome. I'm getting blue. I need someone to talk to. I'm getting lonesome. I'm getting blue. Let me tell you where I'm going to.